I'd say, ideally we'd like to keep one of the guys that we had with us last year, but until we don't have anyone under contract, so until that happens, all options are on the table. What do you mean? Okay, I'd say, every player is different and every pick is different. So I'd say, when you get to a certain selection and you're trying to decide who the best person is, you just decide on, hopefully by that time you know who the best person for the Steelers will be at that pick. Yeah, I'd say the same answer. The options are on the table. Najee's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons for us, and a lot of respect for what he's done. Yeah, I think, based on how the season ended last year, the reality is we got to get more playmakers. I think we all recognize that, and, the process starts now.
You look at everything in every single year and roll it out.
Yeah, you evaluate all of it, and sometimes you might do both. You don't know, and there's there's an opportunity. There's always right now. There's an opportunity to prove your team. It might be through the draft, it might be through free agency, through trade options that are out there. So all options are out there.
Bring in the right types of players and players with the right makeup, and that's the cool thing about being here in Indy. We had 4 hours of interview.
I don't know if that's accurate. The last couple of years we drafted Spencer Anderson in the 7th round, and he's done a really good job for us, and really like his upside. He has a chance to help us in the future. And then last year we took, I don't know what you define as later, but we took Mason McCormick in the 4th round, and he really did a really good job for us.
He's trying to evolve and adapt as best as we can.
How do I evaluate? Yeah, there were good things from both of them. Glad to have had both of them with us. It was a good experience, and both of them really great people. But the reality is we ended the season with 5 straight losses, and that's not good enough. That's unacceptable. And, from top to bottom organizationally, we have to be better.
When you talk about building a team and building the right way, you got to have some positions in pro sport.
Yeah, I think as we stand here right now, I think it's safe to assume that Broderick, will start the offseason at left tackle, and he played that successfully at Georgia, and so we'll see how that shakes out.
And then you can have a draft where you don't get a starting quarterback out of it. So you just have to make sure when you see a quarterback that you believe in.
He got better every week. Excited to have him and excited what the future holds for him.
That's how you have to.
Yeah, that's a good question. The reality is it's all part of it, right? That's you're not going to run from that. All those measurables that you mentioned, they're important. They're things you discuss, and you'd like to have the perfect player at every position, but we understand that players come in different sizes and shapes, and that's how it is.
And those are tough competitive games, so I think we have very competitive positions.
The skill set, all look at our guys. They both had different skill sets, and the guys that are available out there, those probably have different skill sets than the guys that we had. We're just looking for the guy, the player that's going to help us win our ultimate goal, which is a championship.
Yeah, it's an individual case. Each guy's different. Obviously, you want to be ready as fast as.
Oh, but I can't say enough about both guys as leaders and as people. It was a great experience, and the way those guys handle it wasn't always easy for both those guys, I'm sure, but they handle it like true pros and the pros that they are. Really like Corey. The reality is the durability has been an issue, and until the durability is not an issue, that's a position that we have to keep our eye on.
Like you said, not just the University of Georgia, obviously one of the best teams in the country. They've done an unbelievable job. and then also just being from Georgia?
That's a good question. I got to keep those out for obvious reasons, those conversations between him and I. But we're looking for a winner. We're looking for the guy that's going to help us win a championship. That's the reality.
So excited about that, and excited about getting to spend time with those players. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We always know those players are our hometown guys.
Those guys set a standard for 2024. They made it to the Super Bowl. Credit to both those teams. I sat on my couch watching those guys play, and that wasn't good enough. And we got to be better organizationally, top to bottom.
Talk about it. When that change was made, it was a football decision. It was based on football decisions. It wasn't anything.
Those 5 guys are.
Yeah, those big guys. I said it from the day I got this job. That's important to me. So we're going to continue to address that all the time. Close. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we would have seen him in the postseason, but he'll be ready for the offseason.
And I think you always have to be. It's always adapting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the season didn't continue for us, but Cole could have helped us in the playoffs. He would have been ready to go.
Up front, you have to be good up front. When you walk in there, you got to.
I'm not going to comment on specific players or things that are out there. The one thing I've learned is that there's a lot of fake news out there. That's just part of the thing. Just part of what we do. But there's a lot of fake news out there. But I'll say that all options are on the table until we address our quarterback position.
You got to be big and physical.
Selecting players and one scheme fits can change the person.
With Patrick Queen, yeah, it was awesome. I was glad to have him. He got better, as he got more comfortable in our defense. You just saw it. I mean, you guys saw the speed and how exciting of a player he can be, and I'm glad we got him.
He's going to be adaptive, but you better be good.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know if there's anything specific. The offenses did a good job of scheming against TJ, but TJ's TJ. Glad to have him.
Information in that way. Usually, you can spend time and see people face to face and talk about your roster and those things, and so you want to have that. But it's really about we're still in the gathering information phase.
It's a good problem to have. We got 3 capable guys, and the coaches have. I'll leave that up to coaches, figure out how they utilize them, but it's a good problem to have.
Decision 40, the medical. So the medical is critical, right? So getting all that medical.
I don't know if we learned anything new. I mean, we knew the type of person was, a character. I love Justin. I can't say enough about him, and I'm sure it was tough for him. I hope he was disappointed. That's what you want. You want guys that are going to be out there wanting to play. It's been a great experience with Justin.
We look at those numbers because you do have the apples to apples. So we look at all those numbers, but I would say the medical is critical.
Yeah, the circumstances were a little different there. We signed Russ, and then things happened where we were in need of another quarterback. We wanted to bring another quarterback in. Things happened, and we made the trade for Justin. The opportunity was there, and if I had to do it again, I'd do it again.
Process, but the medical is critical.
Yeah, it's a big week that way. You get a lot of so many different ways. Spend a lot of time talking about it.
Well, like I said, we have the board set right now.
Yeah, obviously, we didn't win a playoff game. That's unacceptable. I'll say every single year we look at our process, how we can get better, how we can adjust, and that happens every year, and it's happening this year.
We have to stay disciplined as we continue to gather the information. We assess the intelligence. We meet with the players.
TJ's one of those legacy guys that. I was around Hines Ward and Troy Polamalu. Those guys played their entire careers, and that's a special thing. And I'm hopeful and confident that TJ will be one of those guys. I don't want to get into details of that. We've, it's been different depending on the circumstances that persist. But TJ's been a big part of this team, and I'm confident and hopeful he'll be here for a long time.
And Tyler Algier, our running back, I wouldn't trade it with anybody, and so we think it's critical. And it depends on who the player is, and probably the reason it hasn't been is because when you look at drafts, there's certain positions that
Yeah, it's credit to those guys. They did their roster and what they did. They won a Super Bowl, and I can't speak for how they did it, but I can tell you, I can learn and observe. But we've had a desire to build in the trenches and on both sides of the ball, and that's going to continue.
Robinson that are just completely different animals, and they're just take the position off of it. He's on special level.
Yeah, I think KB has the flexibility to play anywhere on the defensive line. So.
I have a lot of private conversations with
good question. And there's always rules and metaphors and things that you play your places.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I'll just say, we weren't good enough, and we have to adjust, and we have to get better. We weren't good enough last year.
That is a short player and whatever, but do you believe in him as a tackler? Do you believe he can cover, and can he play bigger?
Yeah, it's early, but I'll say it's a good draft. There's a lot of talented players here, and guys that can help us. I'm looking at it, there's a lot of time between now and April, but I'll say, obviously you look at the defensive line group and the DB group and the running back group, the edge guys and the O-line. There's some good players at all those groups.
Yeah, I think there's really good football this year. A lot of quarterback play.
No doubt, and not just a return game, but something like in this days, whether you're.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest piece, I'll say one of the biggest pieces of this process for us is the time that we spend with the guys, interviewing them and talking to them, and that's where really we try to determine that. We don't have a lot of time, but we try to maximize every second we have these guys, talking to them, asking them certain questions, seeing how they think, how they process, and seeing if like you said, if they're guys that love football and winning is important to them.
What's really interesting about that, now when you look at players, you're used to looking at players' profile, and you see he's been at this school 4 years, or it was more unique to see a player that's transferred, but now you can look at.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in Roman. Unfortunately our season didn't continue, but Roman was in position to play if we needed him to in the postseason. I think he could have helped us, but the arrow up on him.
He played 3 years in one school. What I would say the scouts do a really good job of, because the challenge that you have now is you have different, when a scout goes into a school and they're gathering information about a player that the team has had him for 3 years, they recruit him, they've had him all those years.
Yeah, what was the first part of the question?
He said together to get information from people who didn't have it for as long, so that it makes it a little more challenging for the scouts, but ultimately we still have to figure out a way to nail those makeups.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that the first part of that question, but I'll just say, every one of these things is a learning experience, and we're always looking to try to get better, whether it's through the draft or making a trade or the waiver wire, and if there are opportunities out there that we can pursue that are going to make us better and help us win our championship, we're going to do it.
And change we got to concentrate on us and try to be the best we can do. To know that whether it's Kirk Cousins or any other.
I think every one of those situations is a little different. I'm not going to comment on another team's players, but obviously we want TJ here for a long time, and we'd like to do our part in trying to get something done at the right time, and I think he feels the same way, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, look, Kyle's a really talented player. He's done some really good things, and you can see, man, you can make a highlight tape.
You'd like to find the guy that's going to help us, but I know we've talked, like, we don't have a guy under contract right now, so all options are on the table.
Kyle, in his mind, this offseason, I'm going to do everything I can do to make sure I'm effective on helping this team win, and the same with all of us in the building.
Yeah, Ryan, was really excited about Ryan's progression last year. He just got better and better every week, and it was just unfortunate. He had a significant injury, and we'll see how all that shakes out. But was really disappointed how that ended for him, because, man, that young man was really trending in the right direction. So, good. Thanks, guys.